Alright everybody, how you doing today? Joe Daniels from Swinging This Kettlebell and Strength in Covington, Latonia, Kentucky. I just got a question from a friend. Basically, that a lot of people either argue about it or they don't understand. Well, even experts argue about it. So what I'm going to do is kind of field my view on this. Basically, she asked if she starts working out again and she takes muscle milk protein supplement, will it make her fat? That's like saying, well, hey, will chicken make you fat? So the answer could be, is most likely, it's no. But yes, in the fact of if you have too much of it. All comes down to, are you going to have an incredible amount of, is this going to add a whole lot of calories to your diet? Are you already eating, remember, a protein supplement is a supplement. Are you already eating enough protein in your diet through whole foods and stuff like that? Will this add unnecessary stuff to you? Or is it loaded in sugar? A lot of these different, cheaper grade proteins out there, protein mixes, are filled with carbohydrates and sugars and stuff like that. So basically, before people, let's talk about, what does protein do? Protein is made up of amino acids, and we need to get essential amino acids from our food. Okay, that's ones that our body cannot metabolize from other ones, so we have to get it through food. Same thing as essential fatty acids. There's some we have to get through food. Our body can make the rest out of what we get. Anyway, protein for basically, and I'm looking up through John Berardi's Precision Nutrition, blah blah blah. What we like to teach at Swing This Kettlebell and Strength. Protein in a diet, basically, we're working for like a host of functions, including tissue synthesis, muscle protein synthesis, neurotransmitters in the brain, tissue enzymes, all that stuff. Important stuff that we need from protein. It's not just about building muscle. No one just sits there and eats, a whole deer and all of a sudden they're 15 pounds more muscle. So anyway, I told her no. I'm like, does chicken make you fat? It's not likely that by adding a protein supplement to what you're doing by exercising will you get fat. What I would recommend first is getting your protein through whole foods, chicken, fish, beef, eggs, if you're say diet, quinoa, beans, rice, all that stuff. There's a lot of different ways you can get it. And then supplement if you say you don't have time, if just can't eat more food, if you've had, say, gastric bypass or something, something like that where you can't get a lot of volume of food in, yet you need the nutrients, so you just can't get the volume in, then a protein drink's great for that. Except fatty acids like flax oil, fish oil, things like that. If you have a problem with certain allergies to nuts and stuff. But anyway, what we'd like to do is have at each meal protein provides fullness, satiety. It provides. It takes a while to eat it, so you're relaxing a little bit more instead of having a giant carb-filled dinner, lunch, whatever. I like to base my meal on protein. For women, 20 to 30 grams. If they're eating every, 3 to 4 hours or something like that. Say they 4 times, it's around 4 times 30, 120, 80 to 120 grams through the day. This recommends for physique changing, basically around 1 gram per pound. Now that's not if you're 100 pounds overweight. You probably shouldn't be eating that. But say if you're a 150 pound lady, what we're doing is trying to cut down carbohydrates mostly as the excess form of our energy. If you're training pretty hard, you're going to have a protein turnover. You're going to be breaking down muscle. You need the essential amino acids. So we got to get that back in. So after you based your meal with your protein source, we can add veggies right there. Veggie check it. You know what I mean? So add the veggies. The veggie will also provide an alkaline load to your blood, to the meal, which is good, you know. And then have your starchy carbs, you know, your fat source, but then good fats. Have your starchy carbs at the end. If you have 2 cups of rice and you eat everything else before that, chances are you're probably not going to eat that rice. Yet if you go to say a Chinese restaurant, which is a lot more rice and a lot of sauce and very light protein, you're gonna load up on all those calories from the rice, and you have so much readily accessible energy that you haven't had a chance. You haven't emptied your glycogen from the muscle for that to go somewhere. So basically, we store carbohydrates in our muscle and our liver. We need protein through the day. We can store carbohydrates. That's why people can go for a long time without carbohydrates. Your body can make glucose from fats and protein. And you know, in the winter, before we had stores that were open all the time, before we could store food all the time, we would be eating protein and fat meals. So basically, here's another point. If you have a lot of carbohydrates, you should lower your fats down. If you have a lot of fats, you should lower your carbohydrates down. But you still it's good to have pretty much a basis of the regular protein. I like to tell people, think about like protein and fats being kind of like the oil for your car. Okay, you always have the same size engine, so you always need the same amount. So say we're staying at 100 grams of protein, 120 through the day for a lady, it's about 130 or something like that. And that's always going to be the same. It's the varying levels of the carbohydrates that we can change from a workout day with a high volume to maybe some cardio and stuff. And then the next day we're just in the cubicle. So we have lower carbohydrates that day. But that's just a quick adjustment. You just eat less starchy carbohydrates. You know, always need veggies. I don't even count them as a carbohydrate because I always have them. Incredibly important to get the vitamins and minerals from vegetables. But anyway, the thing about like making you fat, I mean, protein has a thermogenic effect. You ever notice you have a big protein meal, get kind of warm, a little sweaty? It really doesn't happen when we sit there and eat a bagel. So you know, you can increase your excuse me, I'm losing it. Anyway, that's what happens when you don't eat for a while. You know, you increase your metabolism a little bit, get a little warmer by eating protein and veggies. So I like to recommend based on protein, whole foods first, supplements okay after the workout. If you have an incredibly hard workout, you're going to need some carbohydrates after that. You know, most people, that's the best time they can handle carbohydrates is right after a hard workout, especially if it's an endurance or something like that. But let me turn the music on for them real quick. I think that's what everybody wanted turned off. Anyway, but yeah, so adding protein, as long as it's not incredibly high, you know, like adding 2 or 3 drinks a day on top of what you're already eating for stuff, I think you'll be totally fine. Kind of an example for a lady in the morning might be maybe, you know, a couple eggs, maybe an egg, hard-boiled eggs, Greek yogurt. Those are all high in protein. Maybe some ground flax seeds, stuff like that. If you have a protein shake in the morning, throw some spinach in it. You're not even going to taste it. It's just going to make it look a little green. So spinach is a great thing to add to shakes. Let's see. You know, next meal, you might bring something, maybe a low-carb wrap or something, high-fiber wrap with, you know, some maybe chicken that you cut up, you cooked the night before, some more veggies, maybe a little drizzle of olive oil and stuff like that, balsamic vinegar. For lunch, you know, if you have lean meat, maybe some fish, salad, whatever. Then you go and train. If you're an endurance athlete, you might need a little bit more starchy carbohydrates an hour and a half beforehand, before you train. Then afterwards, you're going to have to fill. I mean, that's the thing is, I have clients that are cyclists that ride so much, and they're burning almost 1,000 calories at a high intensity heart rate in an hour, and they're not eating enough carbohydrates. It's like you have to replenish that glycogen, or you're not going to be able to do it that well later. Some people do really, really well on high fats, but you gotta. Our culture has to train yourself to do that. So it's easier when people are used to carbohydrates. Is just the timing. Fix the timing of the carbohydrates. So it's either fuel for after you've trained really hard, or a little bit to top off liver stores before you go to train, because you probably have plenty in the tissue, in the muscle tissue, to get your workout done. Protein, after, to give the amino acids a repair, the workout. So you might have maybe a sweet potato after a workout, a training, resistance training workout, kettlebell, whatever it is. Maybe some chicken, beef, or fish, whatever. Some little bit of butter or whatever, So like you're not going to have as long as you have half a stick of butter. I mean, a little butter isn't going to hurt you. We have 50 calories of butter. It's not going to be the end of the world. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Don't stress yourself out so much. This is where most people's problems are. And then after that, before you go to bed, you might have a shake if you have a sweet tooth or something like that. Make like a protein pancake with some egg whites and make an omelet. Make another omelet. It's up to you. But protein, veggies, good fats, starchy carbs after that when you need it. And I think there's a little bit of stuff for helping you out as far as when getting back into exercising. And will protein make you fat? I don't think it's going to. So you should be totally fine.